one.
Countdown.
Good afternoon, Builder Nation. We are so pumped for today's call. How's that for a kickoff, Spivey? Impromptu, bringing the energy, welcoming everybody so just enthusiastically, but actually am really excited for Ashley and Tyler to bust out their secrets of their crazy momentum and mojo right now. And that I know.
How long has it been, B-Dub, since there's been a recruiting leaderboard that didn't have Ashley and Tyler in the top 3?
16 weeks.
Did you know I was going to hit you with trivia this morning?
16 weeks. If I just own it, I'm going to say it that way and just own 16 weeks. Now,
it may be very confidently.
It may be more than 16 weeks, but it's certainly. But no, really excited for the insights that we're going to pull out there. What do you got to say about that, Spivey?
Yeah, man, just so honored and thrilled to have Ashley and Tyler on. For those of you that have never heard these two individuals speak, you're about to be in for an absolute treat. I'm joined here with Miss Leslie, who I just got the absolute pleasure of meeting for the first time virtually here just a couple seconds ago. But for my short story and heartfelt gratitude, just so grateful for the Tarr Agency and everything that they've meant for this company, for me personally and my own personal journey here so far, and just not had, due to COVID, not as many interactions as I'd like to have with Tyler and opportunities to get to meet and hang with him, but just a phenomenal individual. His track record for what he accomplished thus far in his life is truly, truly impressive. What he has done since joining here at Symmetry has truly been phenomenal. Impact is heard across many hierarchies, and just a powerhouse team that we have on today to talk to us about building an agency, building a legacy, and leading a life of impact, which for me is something that I've always taken away from my time spent with Ashley. Something that's important to her is not just how she shows up in business, but how she shows up in her own walk of life and the importance of relationships to her. And so very, very sincere thank you to Ashley and Tyler and Leslie for joining us today. Appreciate all that you've done. For those of you that have been paying attention to leaderboards, you will notice that Ashley and Tyler have been right up there amongst the top 3 in not only recruiting in new agents, but getting them activated, getting them profitable, and getting them into the system and getting on their way to become a really, really powerful agency within our Symmetry culture here. So we asked Ashley and Tyler to be joining us today to share some insights and what has spurred some of this growth that we've all recently witnessed in the leaderboards, and just couldn't be more honored and thrilled that they chose to join. So Ashley and Tyler.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that introduction. And before we go too far, huge happy birthday to B-Dub, the one and only Brian Williamson, 50 years old.
Thank you for exposing me. Yep, thank you. I was trying to get off scot-free today, but it didn't happen. No, I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, had to. But I would echo the gratitude back. Both BW and Spivey have been incredible friends to me, to us, to our organization, and you've made a tremendous impact on the company. So we are really grateful for that. And it's always an honor to hold this microphone and be able to share on either the Builders Call or the National Call. And so, our aim today is that we deposit a little bit company-wide that would really serve and move the entire company forward, because at the end of the day, we're in a pretty mad race together right now to see Symmetry, to see Quility grow and expand and thrive. And so I hope some of the lessons and some of the things that we have had to retool and change within our organization prove helpful to other people. I think it's always just a good precursor to say we're biased to our system because it works for us. At the same time, we know there's different ways that each organization runs their business, and we honor and respect all of that. Where ours is different, hopefully it can be an addition and something that adds value to those of you that are listening. our topic today is attraction versus recruiting, and specifically this idea of if you build it, they will come. And I think it was actually the first call that Tyler and I did, national call about maybe a year and a half ago. We talked about a similar thing, attraction versus recruiting, but we hit kind of a different piece of it. And I'll say this: the Tarr agency has been planted here at Symmetry since 2014. We've had some incredible growth due to some incredible leadership throughout the years. And so thankful for my agency owners, every single one of them, all different, all incredibly talented. Most of the massive growth that we've had until the last couple of years has been through War Market. And I am a huge fan of War Market. I think every one of us understands the value of War Market. Trust is greater, and so momentum and movement is quicker. And our businesses are built at the speed of trust, and so you've got that inherent trust with War Market that makes it so powerful and so explosive. But with that said, the Tarr agency around end of 2017, 2018, we hit a bit of a lull from a recruiting and a building perspective. I think a lot of the current agents in a way I should say current builders had kind of exhausted War Markets. And so one thing that I had not really wrapped my head around and gotten a hold of until then was cold market recruiting. And enter Tyler Harris into my life, and then soon after into partnership. I would say, due to his background, one of his skill sets, one of many, is just understanding recruiting. That's where his so much of his expertise in the insurance field has been. And so in large part today, I really want him to share a little bit about his methodology and the systems that he has helped implement here at the Tarr agency. He is the chief growth officer for very good reason. It's really what he does best, is grow things. And so it's no accident that we are on the leaderboards consistently now. And I just feel the need to give credit where credit's due. A lot of that is because of his impact and the partnership that we have, and in addition to that, the staff that we have. And again, this is one where I'm partial, because Leslie Jones is one of the best staff hires that we've made. She is our director of recruitment. She also is soon to be family to me. She's Tyler's cousin's wife. So I'm trying to figure out a short way to say what that will be to me. But
cousin-in-law.
Yeah, cousin-in-law. I don't know. She's a beautiful individual, inside and out. She is a powerful woman, takes massive initiative, takes massive ownership, and is not afraid to bring new ideas and new perspectives to the table, and is someone that we can truly delegate to. And that's been, very resourceful. I think real quick, just to kind of tee up for these guys, when we think about attraction versus recruiting, I think there's three main things, and there's probably a lot more than this, but three main things that come to my mind kind of in that theme. And the first is this reality, Brian, we've talked with you a lot about this reality that the first thing that we have to do as a leader is become the kind of person and the kind of leader that's really worthy of following. And in that case, you're going to attract the people that you truly want to attract into your business. If you're not that person, you're going to have a difficult time attracting the right kind of people. The second thing, I think you've got to really proactively create a culture in your team that's going to be attractive to the kind of team players that you want to have in the business. And so that's really, I think, the second bucket. The third bucket, and I think the one where we're going to spend most of our time today, is this reality that you do have to be willing to hire staff and then really create internal systems that create a safe place for individuals to onboard at scale. And, I think that last phrase is really important to us, because it's one thing to be able to bring on and mentor 1, 3, 5 people at a time. It's an entirely different thing to be able to bring on 30 or 50 people at a time. And so if we want to see massive growth, then how do we create systems and how do we hire staff so that we're actually a safe place where people can come and almost get the same attention if 50 new people come in the door as if 5 people come in the door. And so I would say that's been where I have really seen both Leslie and Tyler's expertise play out, is helping develop systems that do just that. So I'm going to turn it over to my fiance, soon to be husband, Tyler Harris, and let him take it from here.
Guys, I'm so freaking excited to talk to you today about recruiting. It's like all I can do. I'm sitting over here like just vibrating, I feel like, because this is just so much fun to me. And so there's 1,000 folks on this call right now. And if you're listening to this and the idea of recruiting or starting to build is scary, if there's some anxiety and some fear there, like, my goodness, get excited, because this is going to lead to the most fulfillment that you've ever had in this business. Because producing is great. You can call it fun when you're winning, but building a team of folks that you actually enjoy being around, whether you are working together or not, man, that's life, right? And so that's ultimately what we're talking about here today. Here's how I want to set this up. With building, the focus is to be able to scale, right? We all want to scale our recruiting. We all want to scale our building practices. And what scaling means is just faster, right? We want to get faster. We want to bring on more people. We want them to come on board quicker. We want them to get to a new writing agent, SNA, and beyond as fast as we possibly can. If that is you, and whether you already have a team, and that team may be massive, it may be just getting started, or whether you're the person that is looking to start recruiting soon, the key to being able to scale, either right now or in the future, is having systems and processes in place. With systems and processes come infrastructure and staffing, people that can implement the parts of that process that you don't need to be doing right now. Right? It's a very difficult thing to build an agency when you're focused on personal production to pay your bills, right? It's a lot of moving parts. So there are going to be things that are going to occupy your time that you're going to need to, as quickly as humanly possible, get that on somebody else's plate so you can be focused on the most important things to move your business forward. Okay. So enter Leslie Jones into the equation. We knew that we needed to make a strategic hire on the recruiting and building side. I was still doing first interviews, all of the first interviews, just spending probably, I'd say 15 to 20 hours a week, just doing first interviews. And so that was not a good income producing activity for me at the stage that I'm at in this business. But I had no idea that bringing on someone to really help with first interviews would lead to someone that could really take over a lot of the management of our recruiting processes and flow. And so the first real key tip, and I really want you guys to get some nuggets out of this that you're writing down that you're able to implement and use. First key tip is, when you're looking to make that first or second strategic hire on the recruiting side of your business, do not farm that out to some $8, $9, $10 an hour person, because you're going to get $8, $9, $10 an hour quality, right? And results. So we invested heavily into our director of recruiting, and my gosh, has there been a massive return on investment. To be able to have someone that's solutions focused, that's another big tip. Not someone that just is reporting back all the problems to us, but is seeing problems and able to come up with creative ways to solve those problems, is paramount. And so when Leslie came on board, we had the processes probably about 85% of the way done as far as all of our systems running like a machine. But bringing Leslie in to take over certain parts of that process and then help us facilitate it as a whole has been a massive game changer over the last 6 months. And so what I want to do is bring Leslie on. And guys, if you're here and you have somebody that's doing work for you on the recruiting side, my goodness, send them a text message with this link to get them on here, because we're going to be going over some really important stuff that they'll be able to take away from and put into action as well. But let me bring on Leslie Jones and have her talk to you a little bit about, like, what was that like coming into this business and getting some of these processes set up in place.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Super pumped to be working with you both. and just continuing to learn from you guys. It's been great. Just a little background on me to start. I do come from the restaurant industry. So I spent the first 10 plus years or so of my adult life in that world, working weekends, holidays, 10 plus hour shifts, and so on, everything that comes with that. So I started out as a busser when I was 15, worked my way up to assistant manager by the time I was 19, and I was the GM of a restaurant by the time I was 22. And I've been the GM of 3 different restaurants since. And even though I really didn't enjoy it, I just got stuck in it because it's what I knew. I finally just kind of got to the part in my life where I hit a wall, said, why does this need to be me? And decided I didn't want to be in that anymore, completely switched gears and jumped on board here with Ashley and Tyler, and super glad that I did, for sure. What attracted me to this business in the beginning, I think, is very similar to what attracts agents to the business. I'm able to work from home. I have time to travel, work-life balance, which is something I'd never had before. Steady, consistent schedule. I have support, the training. And I really knew that I could take my recruiting skills from the restaurant industry and apply it here to this business. So just to talk about my point of view, when I first came on board with the Tarr agency, I was like, okay, this is new to me. I know absolutely nothing. I was completely blind, but I understood the importance of getting symmetry in me so that I could represent it well to potential agents I was going to be bringing on board. So coming from the restaurant world, adapting is something that comes natural to me. So I thought, how can I adapt to a completely new industry? I guess just dive right in. So I knew if I was going to be conducting the first interviews and really engaging with the agents about culture and commitment to the calls, that I was going to have to do that myself. So I sat in on all of the first interviews that Tyler was doing at the time, all of the second interviews. I jumped on every single call, team huddles, team calls, national call, builders calls, and just completely surrounded myself with this new industry and really own the culture so that I could operate as an extension of the culture. And even though it's only been 6 months, I still make sure I'm on these calls on a consistent basis because there's still so much to learn. 6 months is not a lot of time to be in a new job. So I just want to go through quickly just an example and really a breakdown of our recruiting system and what that looks like. So like Tyler said, about 85% of it was already done, but now I feel like it's really set in stone here. Excuse me, some water. So the goal is to have a process in place and easily and effectively be able to put recruits through the process. And what's helped us is the fact that this process has really been changing and adapting based off of what agents want and need. So I think that's super important to the success of your agency, is just allowing your agents to be transparent about what it is that they need to be successful. So first step is obviously an applicant's going to apply for the job. So right away, we send an email with a 15-minute overview video of Ashley and a few other boot camp videos that's really going to showcase the culture of the agency. They'll go on a first interview with me. The first part of that first interview, I actually play a 3-minute setting up the framework video of Tyler. And that's super important because that really sets up the framework for the interview. So that lets them know that the main focus of the first interview is going to be on them, not necessarily on the agency. And that the second interview is really where they can ask all of their questions. And that was super helpful to me in the beginning when I really didn't know anything, to not have to feel like I had to answer those questions. Excuse me, I could just defer them to the second interview and make sure that they got those questions answered then. So after the first interview, they then receive 3 videos about compensation and leads and a link to go ahead and schedule that second interview with Tyler. And again, they'll go on that second interview, be able to ask all their questions and really decide from there if this is a good fit. So let's say they decide to come on board. What we do first is have them sign our core values and commitments document. And that is when they're going to start receiving a checklist from our director of operations. So Kellen Capps, shout out to her, the most organized person I've ever met. She breaks things up into 3 different parts. So it's super easy for our agents to follow that. Part 1 is going to be all about engaging with the team. because that's something that's super important to us. So having them participate on our Zoom calls, on Slack. I actually put them through a welcome call where I'll introduce them to our headquarters team and just go over some basics of the business. Part 2 is all about the licensing. Part 3 is all about carrier contracting. And while they're going through that last part of the carrier contracting, we'll put them through an orientation where they'll be able to kind of dive into Quality HQ and our core carriers. After the orientation, they go on a game plan where we'll touch on opt, schedule, their goals. And then the last part of our onboarding is the launch call. So it's all about dial training and appointment training. So that's really our system and our step-by-step when an agent decides to come on board, what training and support they get in the beginning. What's great about this system is now that it is set in stone, it's so easy to now coach and train leaders and future agency owners on how to adopt this process for themselves and their teams that they're bringing on. And when it comes to the first interview for me, like I'm so confident in this system now and the support that we offer that I don't need to be salesy. I don't need to come across with a sense of urgency that these people need to start or fill this out in 24 hours, whatever it is. I'm completely transparent on the interview. And I think that's super important. Just being honest and transparent about what they can expect. I actually, a lot of times will ask them if they have experience in the insurance world. I'll ask them what it is that they didn't like about the previous IMO, because I know that we have something better here for them. So when people choose to change careers, I think the main things that they're looking for are support, training, and culture. And we have all of those. And what's great about having these systems in place is like we have things to offer them, both from the Tarr agency, from Ashley, Tyler, myself, the rest of the headquarters team. But we also have everything that Symmetry offers to their agents. So a lot of times I'll tell people you kind of get both worlds, all of the calls and support and our systems for the Tarr agency. And then you also get everything that Symmetry's already created. So yeah, I just love that I have the opportunity as the recruiting director to give other people the opportunity to change their way of living, just like this job changed mine. So thank you, Ashley and Tyler, for this opportunity and for all of the support, knowledge, leadership, and encouragement along the way.
I love it. So good. And I think obviously we can all see why she's doing so well because of who she is and just how she operates and shows up. Guys, there's so much that we wish that we could go over. Well, we've got about 6 minutes to do it. I want to touch on a couple of things because, again, I want you to have some takeaways that you can really implement here. It's an interesting paradox, right? Because recruiting is basically just sales. If you think about it, it's a numbers game. You got to pick up the phone. Like it's sales. However, just like sales, you do not want to be salesy. Right? And so the biggest key that I have for you guys today is just be a human being, connect with the person that you're talking to, and don't try to become this insurance guru, insurance expert, insurance mogul. Just be a real person, right? One of the key areas that I talk about a lot in the recruiting process is in regards to sense of urgency. And as I'm saying that, you guys are like, oh yeah, like we got to get people on quick and let's go. It's actually the opposite. And what I have found is that the insurance industry might be one of the worst when it comes to recruiting practices, which is why it's one of the not so great when it comes to support and training industry-wide. And that's why everything's so different here with Symmetry, but it's because it's still just a quantity over quality process, right? But when it comes to a sense of urgency, I spend time in the recruiting process telling our potential agents, number one, if anybody ever tries to put a sense of urgency on your career, which is largely your life, I would turn and sprint the opposite direction, right? And how many of us have been guilty and how many of us have observed that happening? Right? A 20-minute interview, we're mailing a packet and we're texting them. We're calling them like every couple of hours. Hey, you ready? Hey, you ready? Got to get you in by Friday. Got to get you in by the first of the month, all of which are lies, right? So let's just be humans and get rid of that sense of urgency. What I have found is that the more you talk about not having a sense of urgency in the recruiting process, the faster they want to come on board because there's integrity behind that. right? And so I tell them, hey, at the end of the second interview, which by the way, we do in a group setting, and it has been a game changer. But by the end of the group interview, in that second interview, when we go over next steps, I tell them, hey, if your next step is to set up another call with myself or anybody else, if it's you have more questions, if it's you need to follow up on, we're going to do absolutely everything that we need to do to get you to a place where you feel 100% confident that either this is where you're supposed to be or this is what you're supposed to be doing, hopefully a combination of both. But until you get there, I don't want to bring that person on board, right? At the end of the process, we've established, okay, this person is a great fit for us. But until that person feels 100% confident that this is the best thing and the right thing for them, I do not want them making that decision. So in that, this idea of what you bring them to or what brought them here is what keeps them here. And that goes back to integrity. So don't tell them about all the amazing things that are in place and all of this processes and systems and training and hands-on support. We're going to be super, super hands-on. And then them come on board and not follow through with that. That's the worst thing that you can do. So whatever you're using to get them here needs to be the thing that makes them happy that they're here and want to stay here, right? Last thing I wanted to mention is really changing the culture of Symmetry in regards to attraction versus recruitment. This has been something that I've wanted to say on a national call for a long time, so bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Social media. It's one of the most, if not the most powerful tool that we have to recruit. And it's free, right? We can reach millions of people, put messages out there, show them who we are, show them what our culture looks like, show them what we do, how we do it. And they're able to digest that information on their own time for free. So here's the deal. In changing the culture at Symmetry, when Symmetry posts something on Instagram, when Symmetry posts something on Facebook, within 5 minutes, every single agent within Symmetry should be liking, commenting, and sharing that post. I cannot tell you how much it drives me crazy to see Quility posts on Instagram with 8 likes and no comments. That's irresponsible as agents and agency owners of this company to allow that to happen. Right? So number one, we've got 1,200 people on here. Go follow Quility and Symmetry on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and all the platforms. We should not have more agents than followers. That's absurd, right? Then when a post comes up, turn your notifications on so it pops up on your phone that Quility just posted something on social media. Immediately go to it, like it, put a thoughtful comment, not a pound emoji, a thoughtful comment, and share that thing with people that you know. Share it on your Instagram stories. If you guys had any idea what that would do to the social media presence of Quility by just 20% of us actually doing what I'm saying, it would blow your mind what the algorithm would spit out on the other end. Because getting a bunch of engagement on your post in the first 5 minutes blows it past the algorithm, and we're able to be seen now by millions of
Reiterate that.
Right? We need to be using the tools that Quility is putting out there to leverage for our businesses, right? It's a reality. Over the next 24, 36 months, there is some insane stuff that's going to happen with this company. And guess what? With insane things happening comes insane attention around this company. You, the person that just got started a week ago, or the person that's been here for 10 years, can leverage what's happening with Quility, because as they're gaining all this attention, that rolls to you. But if you're the one engaging on the Quility post, if you're the ones commenting on the Symmetry Financial Group post, when people are looking up Symmetry because what in the world is happening with this company, they're going to find you and they're going to come ask you what you think about it. So guys, we can change that culture real quick, as in today, and start really engaging immediately, first 5 minutes, when Symmetry or Quility puts out content online, and we can change this thing real quick. But again, it's all about attraction versus recruitment. That's how we attract people here, not go out and find them. All right?
Guys, so good. Let me just give a couple summary, B-dub summary points. So Leslie, loved that you said agents need 3 things: support, training, and culture, and that we have all of those things in place in the Symmetry system. And then Ashley, back to how you started was so good. Just the reminder that we need to become a leader worth following. That's the first priority. Then we have the privilege of building leaders worth following. And when we do that, we're going to then lead a culture in our agency that allows people to perform at their highest possible levels. And Tyler, your thoughts just around the key to scale is systems and processes. And the fact that you guys have done so much work on that and contributed to Summit and all the things that we're building there to enable that to happen, just so good. So appreciate you guys downloading all your wisdom. And Leslie, pleasure to have you on as well. Always good to see staff on agency staff rocking it with us, but really appreciate that.
Yeah, sorry, I was talking over you there, Tyler. I was fired up and telling Casey to reiterate and put an exclamation point on what you were saying there.
So
That was so good, man. Glad to hear you guys talking about that. You could definitely use that shift in the culture, man. So thank you guys for sharing that.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, exciting times, guys. Brando,
Well,
let's do this, buddy.
Unfortunately, Casey, there was a snafu.
Yes, there was.
No leaderboards today because there was some migration data issues. So we'll double up on our leaderboards next week for sure. So our apologies for that.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with today's date being 4/20. Before the jokes start pouring in, nobody forgot to do anything.
Yeah.
Ha ha.
Nobody was dazed and confused.
Real funny.
Got it.
Bunch of young whippersnappers out there always celebrating silly holidays.
It's a good day. Today's a good holiday for other reasons.
It's a good holiday because it's BW's birthday.
That's
Right.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks, my brother.
How can we ask?
That's probably 28, right?
I am 50 years old today.
Whoa.
That's a big one. There's a zero on the end
No
of it.
way. There's no way you're 50.
I know. You know what? I will just tell you all that I am eating it up. I was uncomfortable being exposed on the agency owner call and the builders call, except people were genuinely like, man, you do not look 50. You look 30. And, I know our culture is good at promotion and edification, but I'm just going to eat it up and say, thank you very much. My wife said the same to me this morning. Her cousin turned 50 the other day and she's like, look at this picture. This guy looks like a grandpa. So I'm feeling good about myself.
You do look super young. That's not just buttering you up. You look like
I'll receive it. Thank you.
Did you
you're
know?
maybe 41.
Did you know, BW, that you share a birthday with one of Quility's and Symmetry's favorite people, the marvelous Marlon Faulkner?
I do. He sent me a Batman. Him and I are both Batman. And so he sent me a Batman with a candle, just in a text. So it's kind of cool. We're Batman brothers. So.
Nice.
Hey, Brandon, since we don't have a video today and we don't have leaderboards, we thought we would actually make our own video with you guys, if you don't mind.
Oh, I like that. What you got in mind?
We're going to give you guys a 3 to 5 minute tour of our 204 building, which has recently been remodeled. So we'll start the tour now, and we'll see if we can see who's in here with us. All right, hold on, let me get set up.
I like this. Make your own video day. We had some requests for. I feel like my shirt may be a little too unbuttoned, and maybe a little inappropriate for this call. Button it back up. We did get several requests to show our Foresters video today because they have a unique underwriting department, but we'll have to save that one for another time.
Yeah, we'll get that one next week, maybe. All right, so this is my office.
Looks good, man.
Okay.
Look at that brick.
Love the brick.
This is a little copy room.
Nice copy.
Rest bathrooms.
Well, you also
Look
need to
who
go
it
show you need to go show our coffee machine back there, man.
I will.
It's a warrior.
Look who we got here. Pam Fair,
Leads.
Vice President of Operations. Maitland, what's your title again?
Director of Leads.
Director of Leads.
Ooh,
Say hey, everybody.
that's somebody you want to butter up right there.
Send flowers
Right.
to that office.
Look who we got here. Logan Long.
Logan.
Boom. Say hey, Logan.
Building some
All right.
cool strategy deck, I'm sure.
We got Karina Smith, Senior Director of Project Management, in here with
That's Chris,
Chris,
Director of Morale.
Director of Morale at the office.
I like that.
Good to
We
see
need
you.
to-
This is Fletch's office.
He's on spring break.
He's spring breaking today. This is the staircase.
It's a nice staircase.
Walking over here to see CTO extraordinaire, Johnny Edwards. This is Heather and Lacey's office, but they're remote today. We got a little meditation corner over here.
I like that. Might need that later.
Guess who that is? Mr. Joe
Lovely,
Denby,
Joe.
CMO.
Everybody can see it.
We got we got Doug Zay. Smoking cigarettes and drinking.
We have
On
a
the
strong
job.
policy against both of those things, Doug. You
Right.
should know
This
that.
is Bud Palmer's office. Let's walk in here and see what we got here.
That's
We got a whole wall of awards from
Trinkets or
kinds of big deals we got.
player,
those are-
players they used to call it.
Deal a Day Palmer. So all of those represent just the deals he's had this year, I think. Deal a Day.
Yeah.
Right above it is his sign that says effortless humility and how I've cultivated it, his new book.
Exactly. We got our coffee station here. This little workhorse is
No, that's not
What?
the workhorse. Remember, the workhorse is hidden
Yeah.
back there. We've had it for 5 years, never once descaled it, and still spitting out coffee left and right.
got a fridge that needs help.
You guys send us some things to put in our refrigerator if you don't mind.
Yeah. Let's see. We got
Any leftover turduckens?
Chief Bird Dog Officer here.
Oh,
Birdie. We got Brandon Ellison here, founder extraordinaire. Walk in here. Oh, we got some office art we need to talk about, Brandon.
we need
What
to
is
hone in on
this?
that for a second. I think
Tell everybody
Brian,
what this is, first of all.
that is the Beacon Industrial League champions from 1940 baseball team. And Brian Delaney was on this team. I think you can
Brian
show-
Delaney.
Is that not Brian Delaney, y'all? That's Brian. I think Carl Miller we found is also on the team. There's Carl. Unfortunately, he's next to Hitler, so we don't talk about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably-
Look at this little pup here. So Beacon is where this office is located. This is kind of Beacon Village, which is an old manufacturing. It's really the heart of Asheville back in the day. Employed, I don't know, Brand, was it 2,700 employee, one of the largest employers in the area. And Beacon, actually, my grandparents worked, and pretty much everybody in the area back in the early 1900s worked at this plant, making blankets and stuff like that. A lot during wartime, but this Beacon land that we actually bought across the office, this is where the baseball field was for the team. But these guys won the Champions of Industrial League 1940. So a little history we wanted to kind of bring into the mix here. And we feel like we're champions too, so kind of meant something to us.
Yep.
We got a nice whiteboard TV here. Then this is our favorite part now, which we're just now getting to use. Our office deck. This is where Brandon and I are going to spring and summer.
I think he's getting outside of range.
That's our other building.
It's a good view from the other
How's that,
building.
Brandon?
We need a zip line.
Ooh, I love a zip line.
Yes, we do. All right, there's the office tour. How's that?
That was a fantastic tour.
Entertaining?
Yes.
All right.
We may never do leaderboards again. We're going to have a Casey tour of all over Swananoa.
That's right.
But you're
Next-
going to have to take us back to the first office. Back
know.
on, what was the name of that street you lived on?
Mary Jane Lane.
Mary Jane Lane. And both of your grandmothers, not just one, both of your grandmothers were named Mary Jane, right?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I'm going to walk you over to the original, the office that Karina Smith is in right here. This corner section right here was the original office. That was all we had. And then slowly we started kind of taking more of the office space all upstairs, and then finally bought the building. When would that have been, Brandon? Like 9 years ago, probably.
Yeah, 13 or 14.
Yep.
2000.
So there you have it.
Yep. A lot of history in this building. And I know it means a lot to you to keep pushing that history forward, right?
Yeah, it's pretty
Got a
cool.
lot of family around here in Swananoa. So maybe one of these days they'll give you the key to the city, buddy. I don't know if you can call it a city. The key to the unincorporated town. Unincorporated municipality.
I know.
All right. Anyway,
Keys of the village.
You do need the keys to the village, man.
I know,
One of those
man.
huge keys. I'll cut the ribbon.
I'm lobbying for it. See what happens.
I've been telling them I need the key. What they're doing. All right.
We don't have leaderboards this week, Brennan, but can we tease a little bit? I think last week was a pretty good week, wasn't it?
And it was a great,
I think so.
great week, Spivey.
Well, I mean, it had to have been like in the top 2 or 3 record weeks, right?
Yeah.
I know we've been
Preliminary, we're thinking it could be the second